Can you see the board?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let us start our today's discussion. So we have now covered more or less the topics which are related to the radiation from accelerated point charge, and today we shall discuss about uh, scattering, scattering of electromagnetic radiation, and specifically scattering uh, is the classical scattering. It's not a quantum mechanical scattering, in the sense that will be dealing with the particles and radiations at low energies. So what is scattering? I think this term is very familiar to all of you, because this is not the first time you are listening to the discussion of scattering. I think you have heard about quantum scattering, or say even in nuclear physics, Rutherford scattering. So all of you have some kind of intuitive idea what does scattering means. I mean, it's basically a process, physical process, where you have either a electromagnetic radiation or a particle beam which encounters some kind of obstacles. It could be some atoms, it could be electrons or any other obstacles, and then they are forced to, they are forced to deviate from their initial trajectory or path, and that is what is termed as scattering. And as you can understand that right now we are talking about electromagnetic radiation. So obviously we are not going to discuss about the scattering of particles. We are going to discuss about scattering of electromagnetic radiation at low energies. So first of all, let me just define a couple of important definitions related to scattering. So scattering, how do we define scattering? So of course we have an electromagnetic radiation with us, which is encountering some kind of obstacle. It could be a, say, gas molecules or electrons, electron gas or a plasma, whatever. And then this electromagnetic radiation is getting scattered from its initial path, right? So that is what we are calling scattering. But in this picture I have drawn just one electromagnetic wave. I mean, when you are uh, talking about electromagnetic wave, they could be monochromatic, they could be polychromatic, and I mean, when it gets scattered, because there are bunch of scatterer here, it could be electrons or atoms or molecules, then each of the scatterer can scatter the electromagnetic wave in different direction. So in general, what you will see after the scattering is that the scattered electromagnetic waves, there are a bunch of electromagnetic waves along all possible directions, which are getting scattered from those scatterer, right? So initially the energy is traveling along this direction, right? The energy, and you can quantify the energy by the Poynting vector, amount of energy crossing per unit area per unit time. That is what we call the incident Poynting. That is what we measure by incident Poynting vector, SI. And after this electromagnetic radiation is scattered, the scattered electromagnetic wave in principle can uh, propagate along all possible directions. For this particular incident wave, I have drawn the scattered wave along this direction. So this is the angle, some angle, say alpha or whatever, or yeah. So this is getting scattered, but there can be other waves or other scatterer which are scattering the wave along some other direction. So when you are looking at the scattered wave, you expect the wave to be coming from all possible directions from this scatter, right? So let me just draw a clearer picture. Maybe it will be better to draw it this way. So we have an electromagnetic wave which is initially propagating along, say, this direction, and then it encounters some scatter and atoms or molecules, whatever, and then it gets scattered. Okay, so we can measure the energy crossing per unit area by the Poynting vector, and then this is getting scattered along some other direction. And as I said, that different scatterer will scatter the wave along different directions. So in principle, you can expect the scattered wave to be along all possible directions, not only in this direction but that direction, right? All possible directions. So you can think about a 4 pi solid angle, I mean spherical region over which spherical surface across which the scattered wave will pass through. Now I can imagine a small element of area, right? Say ds is the, or dA, or anyway, whatever, ds, element of area. And if I ask the question, how much power or energy is crossing through this say surface ds, right? So the energy or say the power, if I ask you the power, I mean passing through this surface, so dps, if I ask you what is scattered power is passing through this surface element of surface ds, will be given by this is the incident wave has the Poynting vector si, but we have to again define another quantity, which is the Poynting vector associated with the scattered wave, because the incident Poynting vector and the scattered Poynting vector will not be same. It will depend on the type of scattering and the type of scatterer that we have. So the Poynting vector of the scattered electromagnetic wave will be different than the incident one. So for the scattered, let us call it as SS scattered. Okay, SS. This is SI, I for incident, S for scattered. Okay. So if I ask you what is the power scattered through this small element of surface ds around the scatterer, then we can get that by simply multiplying the Poynting vector ss. What is the Poynting vector? Amount of energy crossing per unit area per unit time. So if I multiply with the amount of area that I have with this element, then actually this is energy per unit uh, time, right? So the surface area is already multiplied. And what is the solid angle subtended by this surface? That suppose this distance is small r, the distance is small r, or the radius of the sphere is r. So then the solid angle subtended by this small element of area ds is simply ds over r square. And the power, this formula is already known to us, but I'm just repeating it. The power scattered per unit solid angle, because we have not discussed this in the context of scattering. We have calculated dp d omega many times earlier, and we know the formula for that. But here I am talking about scattering of electromagnetic waves. So dp s d omega is the power scattered per unit solid angle. Earlier, when we talked about that, that was energy radiated by the some accelerated point charge. And in that context, we talked about dp d omega. Of course, I mean, they're connected because here also you'll see that in different situation, we can have accelerated point charge, which will re-radiate and which will treat as scattered radiation. So, I mean, they are connected. So, dp d omega, this can be then from this dps and d omega, I can write this to be ss scattered pointing vector into r square, right? So r is the distance of the surface, right, from the scatter. That's a r dpds. Now if I want to quantify the scattering phenomena, how do we quantify? Of course, we have defined it as some physical process which deviates some kind of incident radiation or particles from its initial trajectory. But how do we quantify, say, the intensity of the scattering? Or so for that, usually we use a definition which is called differential scattering cross section. And this is, I think, identical if you have already calculated the differential scattering cross section for, say, Rutherford scattering or some other kind of scattering. They're very similar. So differential scattering cross section in this context, cross section, we shall define at this as, so this is usually written as d sigma d omega, differential scattering cross section. What is the definition? This is average energy scattered per solid angle, per unit solid angle, per unit time, because the scattered electromagnetic wave is can actually propagate along all possible directions. So that's why we have to measure the energy scattered per unit solid angle and per unit time, and then we have to divide it by the average energy incident. See, the incident wave is only coming along a particular direction, right? Only along this direction. And the scattered wave is going along all possible directions. That's the difference, right? So in that case, for the scattered wave, we are dividing by solid angle. And for the incident wave, average energy incident per unit area, because this is sufficient. Because if I draw some area perpendicular to the direction of the incoming electromagnetic wave, I can quantify the pointing vector by just simply taking the energy incident per unit area per unit time. And this is average. You have to take a time average of that. That means what it is saying, the term on the numerator, what is that? Average energy per unit solid angle per unit time, right? Average energy scattered per unit time is the average power scattered, right? Average energy scattered per unit time is the average power scattered divided by solid angle. That is this one, right? Which we have already calculated. So dps is the average energy scattered per unit time, and d omega is the solid angle which across which that power is getting scattered. So the term in the numerator is nothing but this one, right, which you have already calculated here. So an average, so we have to write dps d omega, and see the term in the denominator, if you look at that, energy incident per unit area per unit time, that is the pointing vector, incident pointing vector, and we have to take a time average. So you have to put a time average here, this one. This is called differential scattering cross section, which is basically measuring how much energy on the average is getting scattered per solid angle per unit time compared to the energy which is incident per unit area per unit time. That's called differential scattering cross section. And we have already calculated this term in the numerator, which is nothing but this one, right? So this is equal to S and R square. There nothing to take time average because that is not a time dependent function. So we write that is outside R square SI So what is SS? SS is the scattered Poynting vector. SI is the incident Poynting vector, and R is the distance to the surface. And if you, so this is the differential scattering cross section. If you want to calculate the total scattering cross section, then you have to integrate over the entire solid angle. So then d sigma, that d sigma is how much? D sigma is s s s I r square d omega. Right? This is the d sigma, and if I integrate d sigma, then I will get sigma. So I have to integrate here over all the possible, I mean the entire solid angle. So then what is sigma? If you look at this, SSR square, SSR square is dp d omega. I mean same thing, dp d omega. So d omega gets cancelled. You can write this to be equal to how much? This you can write dps. If you integrate, then sigma, if you integrate total this cross section, sigma will be integration over dps, so which will be ps, scattered power. SSR square is dps d omega. We have a d omega here, so it is basically integration over dps, which is ps, right, divided by SI. So this is the total scattering cross section. This is the total scattering cross section. So this was differential scattering cross section. This is total scattering cross section. And we can actually quantify or measure these quantities, these physical quantities, when we have some kind of electromagnetic radiation scattered by some atoms, molecules, or any other scatterer. And we can actually you can see that it depends on the type of scatterer that we have and kind of electromagnetic radiation that we have. So that we want to discuss today. So this is about scattering. What is scattering and how to quantify scattering, right? And as I told you that we shall be mostly sticking to the classical regime, that is the energy of the incoming electromagnetic wave will be much less as compared to the rest mass energy of the scatterer. So basically h nu, it nu is the frequency of the electromagnetic wave. Let us go to the next page. So what we are assuming here, that the frequencies, we have some kind of electromagnetic wave. Okay, let me just draw another picture here. Let us take a coordinate system here. Suppose we are talking about some scatterer, which could be anything, could be atom, molecule, or electrons. So today, first I shall discuss about Thomson scattering, which is about scattering by an electron, free electron, Thomson scattering. This is a very important scattering, Thomson scattering by electron. So we have an electron here sitting at, say, the origin of the coordinate system, and some electromagnetic wave is coming, say, okay, let us call the direction, let us call this x, let us call this y, and this is j. So it's right-handed coordinate system, x, y, z. And suppose the electromagnetic wave is coming along the z direction. So we have electromagnetic wave, and the electromagnetic wave is the equation is E electric field is given by, say, E0 e to the power I kz minus omega t. I, since it is moving along z direction, kz minus omega t. So omega is the frequency of the incoming electromagnetic wave, and this electromagnetic wave is coming along this direction, and when it encounters this electron, the electron, since the electric field is along this direction, orthogonal to the direction of propagation of the wave. Of course, this is z cap. I should write it here. Okay, maybe I can put a vector here. Doesn't matter. This tells us that this is moving along z direction, orthogonal to that x direction. So electron will start oscillating. Since this is a periodic wave, if I take the real part, this is E equal to E0 cos of kz minus omega t. So cos of kz minus omega t, that means it is basically is periodic wave electromagnetic. The field amplitude is varying with time, and when that periodic electric field is basically acting on this free electron, it has a charge, electronic charge E, and they're in electric field. So all of us know what is the force acting on that charge, right? And that is a periodic force, right? So it will oscillate back and forth along this direction, right? The electron will oscillate back and forth along this direction, and this will act as a tiny oscillating electric dipole, which we have already discussed, right? We have already learned how to calculate the power radiated by an oscillating electric dipole per unit solid angle, and what is the total power radiated by an oscillating electric dipole. All these things are known to us, so we can apply those ideas straight away to this problem. And this electron which is oscillating here, basically this is an accelerated charge. So this oscillating dipole will radiate power or energy. This will radiate energy, and we can have some formula of that power radiated by this dipole. Suppose okay, so I'm just drawing the scattered wave in principle, which can go along any other direction. And let us this direction of scattering, this is suppose this is the direction, incoming direction, this is scattering direction, this angle says theta. Can you see the board?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the incoming wave and this is the scattered wave. Okay, and this scattered wave, I mean, which I have drawn here, is given by this oscillating this dipole, which is produced by this electron uh, encountering this incoming electromagnetic wave. So let us calculate the quantities which we have just discussed. This difference. What is the if I ask you what is the differential scattering cross section for this scattering? What is d sigma d omega? What is the total scattering cross section sigma t, and so on. And in this scattering, there is an important assumption here, which I should mention in the beginning, that the energy of the wave h nu is the energy of the incoming electromagnetic wave, which is much less as compared to the rest mass energy of the particle, the scatter, right? Mc square. Okay. Me here, mass of electron, c square. But of course, you can have situation where the energy of the wave can be compared to the rest mass energy of the particle, or it can be even higher. In those cases, we have to treat the phenomena in a quantum mechanical way. I mean, we have to take the quantum mechanical consideration. But here, we don't need to go to quantum mechanics. This is purely classical phenomena where we have energy of the wave is much smaller than the rest mass energy of the scatter. So we have considered an electron at the origin, which is oscillating back and forth due to this incoming electromagnetic propagating on the z direction, and we want to calculate these quantities d sigma, d omega, and sigma t. Now, how to do that? Because we already know the formula. Okay, let us first write down the formula what we need to calculate. So d sigma d omega, as you have just shown, d sigma d omega is given by what is that? That is SS scattered pointing vector SI incident pointing vector ratio into R square. This is d sigma d omega. And then if we integrate that, we will get total scattering cross section. So we have to calculate each of them. Incident, what is the incident electromagnetic, what is the pointing vector corresponding to the incident electromagnetic wave? What is SI? This is straightforward, because if we know E and if we know B, because if we know E, we can calculate B. So pointing vector is given by 1 by mu 0 E cross B. And B and E, they are orthogonal. We know that. I mean, B equal to E by C. And since there is a relationship between E, B, and the propagation vector, so we can write this straight away, because the orthogonal 1 by mu 0, B equal to E by C, which is E square by C. So 1 by mu 0 C can be also written as epsilon 0 C, epsilon 0 C, because c square equal to 1 by mu 0 epsilon 0. So 1 by mu 0 c is epsilon 0 c into e square. And if I ask you what is the average value of that, average value, what is E? E equal to E0 e to the power I kz minus omega t. If I take the real part, that's the field, which is E0 cos kz minus omega t. So if I take a E square, that is E0 square cos square of kz minus omega t. And if we take a time average, we'll get a half factor, right? So that is half epsilon 0, because cos square is thus epsilon 0 c E0 square, right? Because E square equal to E0 square cos square kz minus omega t. So this is the incident, average incident Poynting vector. Now we have to calculate the scattered Poynting vector. And the scattered Poynting vector is nothing but this scattered energy is nothing but the energy which is radiated by this oscillating dipole. This is oscillating electron, basically. We are calling it dipole because it is moving back and forth along x direction. I mean, producing a dipole-like behavior. That's why I'm calling it dipole. And since we have already learned what is the electric field for an oscillating electric dipole, which you have calculated in the last class, so this you may not remember, so I'm just writing it. The electric field, the electric E and B fields of an oscillating electric dipole. What are they? ER, radiation part. Of course, they have other parts because we are talking about radiation. P double dot, you may remember, P double dot is the P is the dipole moment, right? P double dot is the double derivative of that dipole moment. P double dot sine theta, theta is this angle, you may remember, P sine theta, and 4 pi epsilon 0 c square r along theta cap. This was electric field, and Br, magnetic field, was equal to P double dot sine theta divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 c cube. This time c cube, this is c square, c cube r into phi cap. So if we know ER and BR, it is straightforward to calculate the scattered Poynting vector, SS. I mean, this is nothing but SR, which you have earlier calculated as SR. It's the same thing. Radiated, the radiation coming from the oscillating dipole. And that is what? 1 by mu 0 times ER cross BR, right? 1 by mu 0. So let us do it together. So P double dot square, I mean, likhchina ER cross BR, that is, or maybe you can write it ER cross BR, which is 1 over mu 0, and then P double dot square sine square theta in the numerator, and then in the denominator 4 and 4 16, multiply 4 cross 4 16 pi square, then epsilon 0 square, and then we have maybe c to the power 5 r square, and theta cap cross phi cap is r cap. One can drop this mu 0 by reduce. I mean, 1 by mu 0 is epsilon 0 c square. So we can drop 1 epsilon 0 and c square from here to write it as, so scattered Poynting vector SS is actually P double dot square sine square theta divided by 16 pi square epsilon 0 c cube, because I have dropped epsilon 0 c square to cancel mu 0, c cube into r square into r cap. This is the scattered Poynting vector, right? And you see, we just need this one, SS and SI. We have to take a time average here, right? So how to take the time average of the scattered Poynting vector? If you remember, what is P? P is the dipole moment. So let us calculate the dipole moment here. Dipole moment P of the electron is given by what? I'm not putting the vector here, just the amplitude. I'm writing the amplitude. Of course, all of you know that dipole is along this direction because it is oscillating along the x direction. Because here I am only talking about the time derivative, so direction doesn't matter. right? The pointing vector is pointing along r cap. So it is just p double dot square. So direction doesn't matter, square of that. So p, amplitude of the dipole moment, is given by the charge of the electron times the displacement. Suppose the displacement is x, small x. Move. This is oscillating along the x direction. So x is the displacement. And so p double dot will be simply E times E, the electronic charge, nothing to differentiate, just x double dot. And what is x double dot? If x is the displacement, what is x double dot? What is
Acceleration.
acceleration? And how can we calculate the acceleration? Because in this case, the electron is a charged particle which is subjected to some electromagnetic field. So in any electromagnetic field, if some charged particle is accelerating, then there must be some force acting on it. And what is the force in this case? Because it is subjected to an electromagnetic force, the force must be the Lorentz force, right? Because the incoming electromagnetic wave has electric field as well as magnetic field. So if I want to calculate the acceleration x double dot, we must have to calculate the force acting on it. Suppose the mass of the electron is m. So mass of the electron is, say, m. So then mx double dot, that is the force acting on the electron, and that must have to be equal to the Lorentz force acting on it. What is the formula for Lorentz force? E times the electric field plus the velocity of the charge, v of the electron, velocity of the electron cross b, right? Maybe, okay, right, this one. This is the Lorentz force. Now, this has to be the assumption that we have considered here. See, when the energy of the incoming electromagnetic wave is much smaller as compared to the rest mass of the electron, then the velocity, this velocity induced by that force of that electromagnetic wave, the velocity with which this electron will oscillate, will be non-relativistic. It will not anywhere close to the speed of light, right? Because the energy which is carried by the electromagnetic wave is much smaller as compared to the rest mass energy of the charged particle. So it will oscillate back and forth, but with a velocity which is much smaller than the speed of light, right? And what is b? B is nothing but electric field by c with some direction, of course. So E by C, V is very small. So V by C, as you can see, V is very small as compared to C. So V by C, B equal to E by C. So V by C times E. The first term is only E. Second term is V by C, which is much less than 1 into E. So the second term will be negligible as compared to the first term. So the force on the electron due to the magnetic field of the electromagnetic wave will be negligible as compared to the force applied by the electric field. So in that case, due to this assumption, you can drop this part. So there will be no force to the magnetic field. But of course, that is not true in general, because we can have a situation where both the electric field and magnetic field can be important. But right now we are working under some assumption. So this is classical scattering, where the magnetic field, the force to the magnetic field will be negligible. This will be negligible. I should say this is not zero, but this will be negligible. Negligible, right? So then obviously E is known to us. So this will be E times E. What is E? E is E0. So I'm writing only the amplitude, not the direction. E0, because E0 is a vector here, or you have to write x cap. E0 e to the power I kz minus omega t. This is the force acting on the electron. So the acceleration x double dot will be simply E0 by m. M is the mass of the electron into e to the power I kz minus omega t. This is x double dot, right? So P double dot contains an X double dot. So what is P double dot then? This will tell us that P double dot will be simply E square E0 by M e to the power I kz minus omega t. This is P double dot. So if we take a P double dot square in the scattered Poynting vector, we will have e to the power 4 E0 square by M square. And if we take the real part of this is the cos kz minus omega t. So that will be cos square kz minus omega t. So P double dot square is equal to e to the power 4 E0 square divided by M square times cos square kz minus omega t. That is the P double dot square. So let us put that P double dot square in this formula. Then we will be able to calculate the differential scattering cross section, because we have already calculated SI. We have the formula for SS. We just have to take time average. This is already time average taken. We have to take a time average here. So let us go to the next page. So, okay, let me just write the quantities. So SI is already calculated. This is equal to half of epsilon 0 C E0 square. E0 is the amplitude of the electric field. And we have calculated the scattered Poynting vector SS to be equal to, what was that? P double dot square sine square theta divided by 16 pi square epsilon 0 c cube into r square r cap. And just right now we calculated P double dot, because P double dot is electronic charge times x double dot, and we have calculated x double dot. So this will be E, because x double dot is E0 by M times e to the power I kz omega t. So just write down this E square E0 by M e to the power I kz minus omega t. So if I use this, SS will be e to the power 4 E0 square sine square theta divided by 16 pi square M square epsilon 0 c cube r square. And then, as I told you, this is the real part cos kz omega t. So that will be cos square kz minus omega t. If I take a time average of the scattered Poynting vector, we will get back a half factor from this integration of this cos square term. So that will be e to the power 4 E0 square sine square theta divided by 16 into that half factor, 1 by 16 into 1 by half is 1 by 32 pi square M square epsilon 0 c cube r square. This is the time average or average Poynting vector associated with the scattered electromagnetic wave. So we have both SS and SI. And what was the formula for differential scattering cross section? You may remember that d sigma d omega was SS actually we should not put this sign all the time, because this is basically amplitude. So here I am writing this as r cap, because this is the ratio of basically energy per unit solid angle per unit time. So this direction has no importance here, because this is SS by SI. So I should not write the because if I write this, then I have to write r cap all the time, right? This is r cap, because this is a ratio. Not, we are not considering direction, because incident wave is only coming along one particular direction, scattered wave is going along all possible direction. So it's about the amplitude of the incident and scattered wave. If I have written this vector sign earlier, then please correct that one, okay? Because in this definition you don't need to put this here, because it's about the energy, the amount of energy or power that is being scattered or the incident. So SS by SI times R square, and both these things are already calculated. So let us put that. That will be e to the power 4 E0 square sine square theta divided by 32 pi square m square epsilon 0 CQ R square into R square, okay, divided by SI. So SI ki ache eta, so 2 by epsilon 0 C E0 square into R square. R square gets cancelled. 2, and we have a 2, we have a 16 here. This will be 16 on kick out away. E0 square cancelled. What we will have? Epsilon 0 C square হয়ে যাচ্ছে, C to the power 4 হয়ে যাচ্ছে, E to the power 4 আছে. Let us write it this way. If I write this as E square by 4 pi epsilon 0 m C square whole square, then everything is inside this one, and then only sine square theta we have. Sine square theta. Theta is the angle of scattering. Now, what is the dimension of this quantity? E square by 4 pi epsilon 0 mc square. Can you tell me what is the dimension? E square constant হবে কি? ভেবে দেখো constant কেন হবে বলছো?
প্রপোর্শনাল আছে, তো লেন্থের স্কয়ার হবে।
Length square হবে, right? Why? Because you see, what is E square by, if I E square by 4 pi epsilon, right? If I, there is a simple physical interpretation of this quantity, because you, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so E square by 4 pi epsilon 0 R, if I ask you what is this, if I say some distance or d, okay, some distance d, E square by 4 pi epsilon 0 d, what is this thing?
What?
Suppose I have two electrons, right, separated by a distance d. What is the potential energy?
E by 4 pi epsilon 0 d.
Right. So if I look at this, right, this quantity, so then you see E square by 4, then basically this is what? E square by 4 pi epsilon 0 d. And what is mc square? M is the mass of the electron. So mc square is the rest mass energy, right? One can interpret this as the rest mass energy, and this is the potential energy. So if you are, so this is a distance. Basically, if I take d, suppose this is equal to say mc square, so I can write d equal to E square by 4 pi epsilon 0 mc square. So basically this is unit of distance d equal to E square by 4 pi epsilon 0 mc square. So basically one can interpret d as a physical distance for which this energy, this electrostatic energy, will be comparable to the rest mass energy of the electron. Now, definitely one can understand that this should be a very, very small distance, right? And it will depend on the mass of the charge and the electronic charge also, E and M. So in this case, we are talking about electron. So this has a unit of length. So this is usually called R0. This quantity is called R0, and this is often denoted as R0 and called the classical electron radius. So this is called R0 square sine square theta. I mean, it is not very meaningful to define the radius of an electron, but in physics we usually use this length scale R0 as a physical size of the electron, and often it is called the classical radius of an electron. So R0 is E square by 4 pi epsilon 0 mc square, which is basically the length scale for which the electrostatic energy becomes equal to the rest mass energy, and that is called the classical radius of an electron. and you can calculate it because you have the formula for it. You can calculate it. You know the numbers of what is the electronic charge, what is the electronic mass. If you substitute those numbers, you will see that r0 will come. R0, this classical electron radius, classical radius of an electron, this r0 will come to be 2.82 into 10 to the power minus 15 meter, or if you write in centimeter, it will be 2.82 into 10 to the power minus 13 centimeter. This number is basically tells you the classical radius of an electron. And you can see that the differential scattering cross section, this d sigma d omega, this is directly proportional to r0 square. So you can see that it depends on r0. So the scattering cross section depends on r0, and this r0 itself depends on the charge and mass. So suppose you have some scatterer, suppose you have some ionized or semi-ionized gas, which is nothing but plasma. You have some gas which is partly ionized, or it may be completely ionized, through which some electromagnetic wave is passing through. Then that electromagnetic wave will get scattered by the different components of the plasma. So what is plasma? If you have ionized gas, you basically have electrons and then ions, heavy ions, because when you ionize an atom or molecules, whatever, so you have some electronic charge, and then you can also may have neutral atoms and the positive ions. Now positive ions are, or the atoms are, much heavier as compared to the electrons. A proton is, I think, around 2000 times heavier than an electron. So, and you can see that the classical radius depends on this mass, right? Because this factor rg, if you look at this factor depends on e to the power 4, the d sigma d omega, d sigma d omega. This is proportional to e to the power 4 by m square. Now if I take a proton and electron and compare the effectiveness of scattering by electron and proton, you see the electronic charge of proton and electron are same, so numerator is same, but the denominator is huge. I mean, you see difference is huge. It's 1 by m square. An electron, a proton is 2000 times heavier than an electron, so 2000 square, so roughly 10 to the power 6 times difference, right? So if you calculate, you will see that the d sigma d omega of an electron, let's go to the next page. So you can check it by you don't have to calculate it separately, because once you know the value for electron, d sigma d omega, this is for an electron, you know, the electron, we can calculate this. Okay, maybe I don't want to calculate it. One can calculate it. Here I am just comparing the scattering cross section of electron and proton, right? So let us how to relate that. So d sigma d omega of, say, electron, okay, let us call this proton. Then as I told you that it's proportional to, inversely proportional to m square, so it will be around 3 into 10 power minus 6. So the scattering cross section for protons are very small as compared to the scattering cross section of electron. So if you have a mixture of electrons and protons, the electrons will be much more effective in scattering the electromagnetic waves as compared to the protons. The scattering by protons will be almost negligible, right? This is of course the classical Thomson scattering I'm talking about right now. For other case it may be different. And let us calculate then this total scattering cross section. If you want to calculate the total scattering cross section, you just have to integrate d sigma d omega over the entire solid angle. And what is the entire solid angle in case of this? Because that we already know, we don't have to repeat this. What is that? D sigma d omega, we just calculated. D sigma d omega was classical radius of the electron square times sine square theta. Theta is the angle of scattering, so r0 square sine square theta, and then we have d omega, which is what? Which is sine theta d phi. sine theta d theta d phi. Remember, this is d omega. This is not dA. If we have area, element of area, then r square sine theta d theta d phi. This is d omega. And theta goes from 0 to pi, pi goes from 0 to 2 pi, and these integrals have been done many times, so I'm not repeating that. So basically, you have r0 square sine theta, and so sine square theta and sine theta is sine cube theta, which will give you 4/3, and d phi, integration over d phi over 0 to 2 pi will give you 2 pi. So you have r0 square into 2 pi into 4/3. So it is actually 8/3 pi r0 square. And r0 is known to us for electron. For proton, it will be different. And so if you calculate this, 8/3 pi is some constant. If you multiply that with r0 square, you will get, this is r0 square, not r0. So this will be, for electron, it will be 6.65 into 10 power minus 29 meter square. So this is for an electron. Of course, this is for an electron. If you have proton or some other charge particle, it will change, right? So this was the Thomson scattering by free charges. And of course, free means nearly free. They are basically not bound to any system. And also the important assumption, you should not forget that the energy of the incoming electromagnetic wave is much smaller as compared to the rest mass energy of the charged particle. So this is a non-relativistic treatment of the scattering. And one important feature of the scattering is that both the differential scattering cross section as well as the total scattering cross section, they are frequency independent. They do not depend on the frequency of the incoming electromagnetic wave. So what it is indicating that all kind of waves, at least in the classical regime, whatever waves you have, they will be scattered in a equally effective manner. I mean, it will not that the higher frequency waves are scattering more effectively than the lower frequency wave, and vice versa. So this is the equally effective for all kind of electromagnetic wave in the classical regime. Of course, if you take X-ray or gamma ray, then you have to go to quantum mechanical scattering, and you have to calculate the quantum mechanical cross section, because when h nu is much greater than mc square, then you have to calculate the quantum mechanical cross section. This will not work, because what will happen in that case, this dipole approximation which we are using here, it will break down. And also this assumption that which you have taken, that the force to the magnetic field will be negligible, that will not be true, because then we have to also take into account the effect of the magnetic field in the Lorentz force law, right? So that you should keep in mind, because you don't use the formula blindly. This is for the classical scattering. And I mean, you see, there is not much new in this entire derivation, because all the required formula were already known to us from the discussion of the oscillating electric dipole. So we just applied those formula in this particular problem to get some working the formula for the scattering cross section and the total scattering cross section. Now, because we do not have much time left with us, so I will not extend this discussion much, because we can also discuss about scattering by, say, dipole, because as I told you in Atmo. Yeah, any question? Okay, so এখানে আমরা যেটা আলোচনা করলাম যে we are talking about electrons as scatterer. One can also think about, say, dipoles. Dipoles are basically we have some atoms which or maybe we have some of the atoms. We can also think about, say, neutral atoms, right? Neutral atoms, where this is a simple cartoon diagram where electrons are circulating around the nucleus. We have some electromagnetic wave, and when this is incident here, electric field is along this direction, so this will get distorted. This will become a dipole. So positive charge will shift along this direction, electron will shift along this direction. So we have a dipole, and this will oscillate back and forth to give rise to again an oscillating electric dipole. And we can again solve this problem of oscillating electric dipole, and how much energy will be scattered by the dipole and so on, which is called Rayleigh scattering. So this is something which will not be able to cover because we do not have time, because what I have planned that in the last two classes I will mostly discuss about the multiple radiation, which we have not covered yet, right? So last two class will be dedicated for that. So Rayleigh scattering will be very much similar to this Thomson scattering. So there is not much new things into it, because Rayleigh scattering, this is Rayleigh scattering is just in place of electron we have dipoles, right? So the scatterer are dipoles. So let us stop here because we do not have any more time left. It is around, just 2 minutes is there. তো তাহলে আমাদের কালকে যে টেস্টটা হবে তার ফরম্যাটটা একই থাকবে। আগের টেস্টে যা ছিল 20 মিনিট প্লাস 5 মিনিট 25 মিনিট, where you have if you have difficulty in uploading due to network problem, then another extra 5 minutes can be granted. So 20 plus 5 is 25, at most 30 in case of any difficulty, but not more than that. One more thing কি বলা ছিল, okay, so time is same 1:30 the class time. আর এটা কি সম্ভব হবে, আগে করা সম্ভব হবে তোমাদের ক্লাস আছে একটা ডেটার আগে?
হ্যাঁ ক্লাস আছে, মানে
ঠিক আছে, নো প্রবলেম, তাহলে 1:30 থেকে হবে, ঠিক আছে 1:30 থেকে। আর কিছু বলার নেই, ঠিক আছে। তাহলে কালকে আমাদের টেস্টটা হবে, আর শুক্রবার দিন তোমাদেরকে মনে হয় কয়েকজন আমাকে হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে লিখেছিলে রবিবার ক্লাস নেওয়ার কথা, আমার প্রবলেমের কথা বলেছিলাম। তাহলে শুক্রবার দিন তোমাদের ইউজুয়াল যে ক্লাস আওয়ার সেই আওয়ারে দুটো ক্লাস হবে। এনি কোশ্চেন? হ্যাঁ বলো।
স্যার বলছি প্রবলেম আসবে তো?
যা পড়িয়েছি সেখান থেকে আসবে প্রবলেম, কোয়েশ্চেন আনসার, মানে এমন কিছু আসবে না যেটা আমি তোমাকে পড়াইনি, জানো না, রাইট? সো জাস্ট হ্যাভ টু, যেটা পড়ানো হয়েছে সেটা প্রবলেম, সেটা এটা নিয়ে আমি কোনো ডিসকাশন করতে চাই না কি আসবে, রাইট? যেটা আসবে তোমাকে অ্যান্সার করতে হবে, এবং সেটা তোমার যা পড়িয়েছি এই ক্লাসে ডিসকাশন হয়েছে তার মধ্যে থেকে আসবে, তার বাইরে থেকে কিছু নয়।
স্যার বলছি এবার হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে পাঠাবো অ্যান্সার শিটটা।
হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে, হ্যাঁ আরেকটা জিনিস বলে, তুমি যখন বললে হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে আগের বারে পাঠাতে গিয়ে অনেকে যেটা করছিলে পিডিএফ এ কনভার্ট করতে গিয়ে অনেক সময় লাগছিল। তো আমার সাজেশন থাকবে যে পিডিএফ এ কনভার্ট না করতে পারলেও চলবে, তুমি জাস্ট ছবি তুলে পাঠিয়ে দিতে পারো তোমরা, এবং শুধু দেখতে হবে যেন ক্লিয়ারলি পড়া যায় জিনিসটা। খুব হেজি হলো, ঝাপসা হলো, পড়তে পারলাম না, এটা যেন না হয়। প্রত্যেকেই যেটা করবে যে পিডিএফ করা যাক বা না যাক, পিডিএফ করতে পারলে ভালো, সময় থাকলে করো, না হলে করার দরকার নেই, পড়া গেলেই হবে, রাইট? সো অল ফরম্যাটস অফ জেপিজি পিডিএফ সবই অ্যাকসেপ্টেবল, শুধু দেখে নিও পড়া যাচ্ছে কিনা। আর নামটা অবশ্যই ক্লিয়ারলি লিখবে, কারণ আমার এক্ষেত্রে কোনো বোঝার উপায় নেই যে মানে কার নামে মার্কসটা অ্যাসাইন করবো।
আচ্ছা ইনবক্সে তো স্যার, মানে আপনার ইনবক্সে দেবো?
হ্যাঁ আমার পার্সোনাল ইনবক্সে পাঠাবে। হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে। ওকে ঠিক আছে, তাহলে তোমরা সবাইকে বলে দিও যারা যারা ক্লাসে এখন নেই। আমি আলাদা করে কোনো নোটিফিকেশন করিনি, কারণ এটা অলরেডি ডিসকাসড এবং অনেকদিন আগেই বলা হয়েছে পরীক্ষা 20 তারিখ। তাই যারা যারা জানে না, যদি কেউ এখন তোমাদের জানা থাকে যে কেউ জানে না হয়তো, তাদেরকে একটু জানিয়ে দিও প্লিজ। ওকে।